Hello and welcome to PMCLounge.com. Today we are talking about 11 important skills of project management. In order to succeed, you don't need just one or two skills. You need a whole bag of different variety of skills to be able to succeed in your projects, to be able to become a successful project manager. And that is why we are looking into 11 important skills. Now the thing is, you may know about all of these skills already, but it's important to make use of them as well, and that is why this video is going to be helpful, so that you can refresh your memory with these skills and make use of them in your projects. Number one is own the project schedule. So when you're assigned a project, you're essentially given a task and a deadline. You're told where you need to end up and how long you have to get there. But it's up to you to plot the route, to plot the schedule basically. So before your team can achieve anything, you need to lay out a schedule. You need to break the project down into manageable tasks, figure out how long each of these tasks will take to achieve, how many people are needed, what kind of skills are required to achieve them, which of them need to be completed before others can begin, which can be done simultaneously to others, how to transition between tasks, and on and on and on. It is a complicated puzzle, but a well constructed schedule is a work of art and you need to own it. Next is prioritize with purpose. So no matter how hard you wish that you could be in two places at once, it cannot be done. Now, since you can do everything at once, you are going to have to be able to prioritize, but not randomly prioritize, because that won't help anyone. You must plan with purpose. So two tasks have the same deadline, but you only have enough time to complete one of them. No matter which you choose, someone is going to be disappointed. You need to know which is more important and which one can be delayed. These situations will happen all the time. You, as real life project managers, know what I'm talking about here right now. And before we proceed, I'd like to remind you, you can go over to pmclounge.com/resources, where we list our favorite books for PMP preparation. Number three, care about people. The people has the power. So people power. So your title is a project manager, but project isn't the only thing you're managing. Actually, a lot of people say project management is all about people management. So there are multiple forms of management on this list, because a project is more than just a brief of specifications you've been given and more than just an abstract idea, right? For a project to become a reality, it needs to contend with all the complications of the real world, and you need to be there to deal with them. Your team aren't the only people you'll be managing. You also need to manage third party suppliers, clients, senior management, sponsors, and whatnot. It's great if you've got your team working like a well oiled machine, but when your supervisor comes along halfway through the project and tries to completely change the scope, you need to deal with them in a way that prevents disruption to both your team, your schedule, and your project. Number four is manage time. So it's one thing to build a schedule. You already created schedule in the first point that we talked about, right? How outlining how long each task will take and when it will be finished by. That's one side of the story. But it's another side of the story to be able to keep to that schedule, to maintain, monitor that schedule and be on time, right? Some things will take longer than you expected. It always happens on all projects. You need to be able to reassign the extra time from the quick tasks to be more involved ones. The less time wasted, the more productive your team is going to be. Master the project risk. So many problems that occur over the course of project could have been prevented in the planning stages. Planning isn't just about deciding on a way to approach the project. It's about figuring out the most efficient way to approach the project. A big part of that is choosing people, practices, and tools that are reliable and won't mess things up later on down the road. If there's a great programmer on your team, this is an example, right? But they have an attitude problem. So your programmer is great, but he has an attitude problem, and no one else wants to work with that programmer. You need to judge whether the risk of having this programmer on your team outweighs the possible reward. And that is how you are going to manage and master the project risks. Quality deserves importance. Quality deserves your attention, right? Sometimes when you're in the midst of a project, it's easy to lose sight of the ultimate goal. You're caught up in the small tasks that need to be accomplished that you forget about the end product that they all combine to produce. The best project managers out there are able to keep one eye on the micro and other on the macro of the way through a project. They know how to steer a project so that it ends up with the result that best fits the brief and the intended purpose of the job. Now, let me know in the comments how many of you kind of resonate with what I just said. How many of you think that during the course of the project, it so happens that you are only focusing on the micro and not on the end result? It surely happens with me and in certain stages of the project where you are only focusing on the micro activities and not on the end result, right? Number seven, look out for the budget, the project budget, the money, the moolah. So there's nothing clients and upper management like more than when a project comes under budget. Unfortunately, they don't always like to give you the resources to make that an easy task. Talented project managers know how best to allocate their resources to get the most out of them. Once the project is underway, make sure to identify any discrepancies with the budget immediately. So you'll have a chance to deal with them before they lead to bigger problems. And always, and I repeat, always leave some room for unexpected costs. No project will you ever deliver in your career that will not have an unexpected cost. Number eight is all about flexibility. So something always goes wrong. If anything can go wrong, it will. No matter how well you plan, how dedicated your team is, or how well they work together, or how good of a project manager you are, something will go wrong along the way. The success of your project and your success as a project manager as well, this all depends on how you handle it when that inevitable problem occurs. Maybe one of your team members gets sick and is unable to continue work on the project. Or two people both think they were assigned the same task, so they double up on it. Or you get an email telling you that there was a typo in your brief and the final deadline is a week earlier than you thought. It's your job to figure out how to overcome these obstacles. And this is where a great project management solution can help. It's your job to find a way through. Flexibility is the answer to most of the scenarios we just discussed. Snap decision. You have to make fast decisions. Now, a good project manager needs to be able to think on their feet. Every project involves thousands of decisions, and as the leader, you will be responsible for the majority of them. When one of your team members comes to you with a problem or a question that you hadn't anticipated, you must weigh the pros and cons to make a quick decision. If you're spending hours deciding how to proceed, those are hours that team member isn't working on this specific task. This is delaying other tasks further down the line. So if you can think both critically and quickly to make snap decisions during a project, everything is going to run much more smoothly. Number 10 is front foot on technology. Now, front foot is a term from cricket. Those of you who are aware of cricket know what I'm talking about here. Basically, it means you are the first ones to embrace technological changes. Now, we all know technology is constantly changing, developing, and improving. Every day, there are more and more tools available to us as project managers. To be as efficient as possible and prevent ourselves from falling behind the competition, we need to make sure we keep up to date with the latest technology. So if it's a new software for project management or a new way of managing projects or a new process, right? Let's say PMBOK 6, it introduced new processes. How do you embrace them? That's something that you should be on the front foot on. Number 11, and last but definitely not the least, is communication. Communicate, communicate, communicate. And I've written this thrice because I feel this is one of the most important aspect of project management. Communication is actually more than one skill. It involves listening, it involves negotiation, it involves coaching, conflict resolution, and whatnot. As team members of your project, they bring their own ideas and agendas to each project. You, as a project manager, have to navigate those tough waters and find a middle ground. You have to do that. Sometimes that may mean compromising, and other times it may also mean hard choice. But you have to be on top of communication, and that is one of the most important skills in project management. That's all that we had in this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do hit the like button, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon if you haven't done so already. And don't forget to check out the website pmclounge.com, your number one free PMP resource with helpful videos on PMP topics as well as articles if you are into reading. That's all that I had. Thank you.